Hello, everybody. What's up,
Hey,
man?
Jordan.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. I am great. It's good to sit here and be able to talk to you right now. I was just like going over some notes before getting on here, and I didn't realize that our interview that we did last was
Uh,
this year still.
Wait, no. Yeah, because I guess we had this show in Chicago in January.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
oh my
thought that was
God,
like last
Jordan.
year. That
That
I
feels
thought it
like
was so long
40
ago.
years ago
Yeah,
now at this point.
exactly. Like we might be totally different people now. Who knows?
Can we please go back to January? I would love.
I think I want to say that interview might have been the last good thing that happened in my life in terms of
Yeah,
2020 because it's just been a downward, nightmare ever since.
absolutely, it has been. Honestly, I'm done with this year. I'm ready to move on to 2021. We
Exactly.
we we all thought too, right? We were all like, everybody on
Yeah.
Instagram, this
Yeah.
is gonna be our year. This is gonna be great, and the world was like, hell no.
Hell no. Remember when our dumbasses were like, "Oh, we're gonna have so many roaring 20s parties."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and now we are back in the 20s.
Exactly. Exactly. So I just wanted to see if I could get some quick updates from you from January to now. Our interview back then started with bread. Have your thoughts changed about sourdough at all? Are you still a sourdough guy?
I remember this. I remember this. Still a sourdough guy.
Okay.
I've been in Oklahoma now for, I mean, yeah, essentially since February.
Okay.
I've been here, and it's been interesting. You sort of have, like, as everybody else has been, figuring out how to sort of live their day-to-day life within the pandemic and within lockdown measures.
Right.
And I've been, yeah, sort of getting through that. Fortunately, though, I've had the time to. It's interesting because when I started writing the album that I'm working on right now, I started. Probably we had already done maybe 70 or 80 shows at that point in the year when I really kind of started to write it. And then the first chunk of it was all written on tour.
Right.
Um, and now, as I've been here now for 4 months, it's been interesting to sort of finish the record in a sense of isolation and sort of a sense of, I don't know, I've had just a lot of time to really sit and contemplate over the music and really think about what's going on. So,
Right. Right.
you have your good days and your bad days, but I'm still here drinking beer, writing music, and doing what I do.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So that was another thing I wanted to talk about because when we did talk last, you did say that you had had begun to start the next album.
Hmm.
And what's it like? I guess the juxtaposition between being on the road, writing songs in constant motion, and then just being abruptly thrown into this sort of stillness that you can't control.
Yeah.
And what is that energy like in terms of how you are creating now?
Yeah. Well, it's been interesting because I think, Portraits to me, my last record was so much about, I had just gone through a really, really nasty breakup, right? And so there was so much, the record was just a love and heartbreak album. It was me sort of talking about that and expressing that out. And then, this album, as I was writing it on the road, essentially it was just me every night in the hotel room, kind of looking at myself in the mirror and, kind of just like, in a way that sounds a bit dark, but really sort of like tackling some demons and like, saying things that on the record that I maybe didn't feel comfortable, talking about in previous times. It all felt very, very personal and sort of introspective. And
For
so
sure.
now finishing it in a, sense of isolation and, being in lockdown, it feels a bit now, I think the like latest songs I've been writing for it kind of feel a bit triumphant. And it sort of feels
Okay.
like a return to form in many ways. And me, this album is really like, once the fans are going to be able to listen to it, it's really just me being like, here are all the ways that I'm fucked up. Here are all the things that I'm going through. But at the
Right.
end of it, there is a sense of triumph and a sense of sort of winning. And it's also just given me a chance to like, you know, uh, a lot of people told me that I wasn't going to be able to have a second chapter in my story, and that, I was kind of bound to like this thing. And being able to come back and rest for a second has now, shown me that last year was so crazy and so incredible in so many ways. And it's given me a sort of time to just reflect on that and and to I don't know, and to be optimistic about the future. I don't even know if that answered your question, but
No, I like everything you're saying, just because, you know, when you were like, it might sound dark, but you're you know, taking that time to look at yourself in the mirror. I think, you know, quarantine, lockdown, whatever we're calling it, really did that for a lot of people, whether they
yeah.
wanted to or not. You know, I've talked to, you know, both my friends, you know, in and out of in entertainment industry or whatever, and they're all saying similarly the same thing. So I think it'll be interesting to hear this new record from you and see how it reflects to the times overall, just in general.
Yeah.
Because I think we're all kind of, you know, forced to be in that reflection, or, you know, kind of say, oh, okay, yeah, this is the ways that I'm fucked up. So
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome to see that, you know, we're learning about you, but also seeing how that coincides with the bigger picture, which
Of
I
course. And I think too, it's just like, I've, as just a music fan too, I've found myself during this entire time just really leaning on artists and really leaning on people that I'm inspired by, and just
hell yeah.
listening to records and to a lot of music. And I think that's kind of given me a big, I don't know, it's kept me energized, because I'm like, okay, if I'm a listener right now feeling this way towards music, then I know that these fans need it too. And so I've felt a great sense of purpose in this lockdown, about just trying to put my head down and keep on doing what I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you had left us with an acoustic version of "Dancing Next to Me,"
Yeah.
because it hadn't. It was like you were here, and then like it came out maybe like a week or two later,
Uh-huh.
or something, and you were like, "Oh, you know, it sounds one way acoustic and totally different." Like you think it's two different songs.
Yeah.
You heard the original version, and I'm here to let you know you were totally right. Because I was like, damn, this is an incredible, you know, like watching you play, just, you know, like you and the piano was one thing, but then like a week later, we're in a meeting, listening to new music and dancing next to me. And I'm sitting there like, no, this isn't that. And yeah, man,
I
like
told you.
yeah, no, you were totally right. And I wish that I had gotten to hear it when you were there, so I could just be like, congratulations. Like that
Oh, thanks.
record is, it's huge, it's fun, it's everything you want in a in like a pop record. So
Thank you, thank you.
yeah,
That's really all due to Teddy Geiger. You know, her and I, that was the first song that we ever wrote.
right.
The first time that I met her, that was the first time that we sat down together at a piano, and that's what happened. And it, yeah, it's just been so fun ever since. And you know, the thing is we had such a, you know, my entire year was planned out
Right.
essentially, and you know, we had everything sort of together, and we had all of our releases, and these are the singles, this is everything. And then we've, you know, we've just adjusted a lot of different things. But I'm really still proud that that was the first song going into this next album cycle, because I think it really does sort of show, I think it shows how Teddy and I kind of work, and what we're going to be producing. And this next record is going to be really, really fun.
Awesome. And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit more, just the new stuff that has come out during this time between Honeysuckle and I think more recently Athlete for
Yeah,
Love Victor. Yeah, both awesome records as well. Could you talk a
thank
little bit about how those came together?
Yeah, well, Honeysuckle was never supposed to be released as a single. It was a song that I, you know, had that was definitely going to be on the album, but I just felt, you know, and at the time too, our resources about what we could do in terms of like making a video, you know, we were having to really, really think, you know, hard about everything, and also making sure too that, you know, if we were going to shoot something, or how are we going to shoot it safe, you know, what are we going to do, all these things. And so
Right.
I felt that, yeah, I have a tendency of just calling the label and saying, hey, so I know this is the plan, but, and they're like, wait, why did we sign you again? Um, but I called and I said, listen, I just, this song, I think the world needs it. I think the fans need it. It makes me smile every time I hear it. And it sort of, it was like my, coming into the summer song. You know, it was the
Yeah.
song that I listened to when I was cold as hell on the road, at the Bottom Lounge in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was a song I listened to trying to find some warmth, and I just felt like the world needed it right now. So it wasn't really planned out. You know, we shot the video with like 4 people. in Oklahoma, and it was something that, you know, just felt right and felt like kind of a good interruption for our plans. And then Athlete was a record that, you know, I'd been approached at some point last year by Brett McLaughlin, a good friend of mine, or Leland, and he said, "Hey, I'm supervising for this, you know, show, and it's the Love Simon sort of sequel. You know, what do you think?" And I was just so honored and so excited to be asked, because I had loved that movie.
Yeah.
And I really it was really fun, because the whole time writing the song, I was thinking back to when I was 15 or 16, and not only figuring out, you know, that I was a gay person, but, you know, just those sort of butterflies that you feel in your chest and in your stomach when you see that person, and
Right.
and you have that crush. And so it was just really fun to sort of, the song is very innocent, I think, in a way. And it was really fun to be a part of it. And my God, the series is so good too. You got to watch it if you haven't had a chance. It's
I haven't.
wonderful.
I've seen Love Simon. I haven't seen Love Victor, but
Get on it, Jordan. Come
yeah.
on.
What the hell, man? No, definitely on my list. A huge list of things that people keep telling me to watch. But I was listening to Athlete, kind of sitting with it, and I was like, it has that teen spirit to it. I really can tell that, you know, you locked in on, you know, what it, like you said, being 15, 16 years old, it really, it resonates. And I'm just happy that it translates so well. Like, okay, this song is called Athlete. Why? Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's.
I had to fight so hard too for, there's a really sort of long instrumental outro. And, you know, at first everybody was saying, why is this part so long? Can't we cut it a bit? And I was like, damn it, just give the kids a moment to bang their heads around. Come on. I was like, these kids are higher and drunker than they've ever have been in this pandemic. They just want to bang their head around. And I was like, come on, let's give them something.
Give them that rambunctious energy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on. So I hope they appreciate that.
Yeah, no, you definitely feel that, or I at least felt it. Like, okay, I like how everything, you know, everything you have to say in terms of, you know, the message melodically is right at the front. And then, you know, there is that level of butterflies you get when you're a teen that just can't be described in words.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like you want to, you know, kind of just like freak out.
Let the music play.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So
for sure.
Your thumb's on the pulse there with that one. I hate to get more serious, but, you know, obviously our country is kind of at a fever pitch just between racial tension, our president trying to, you know, whether it was blocking rights for the LGBTQ plus community, and then trying to stop DACA. Thankfully, neither of those happened. How do you personally navigate these situations, your emotions to it all? What is it really like for you?
Well, you know, I think it's a few different things. You know, the first thing that I will say is, you know, we are at a fever pitch moment, but finally, you know, finally we're here, and, you know, I mean, BLM as one thing, but just really the whole thing in general is now getting the attention that it's deserved for years and for decades in this country. So there is a sense of, you know, I'm excited to see that people are, you know, are finally standing up. BLM for me has been something that I protested a few years ago after Michael Brown. And so that was my first sort of entrance into just really learning a lot, you know, as a white person about, you know, not only the day-to-day struggles, but the ways that I can be better and the ways that I can help. And so, you know, this second, you know, round of protests and things happening, I was really, you know, eager to get back involved and to, you know, to get active. But what I will say is where I've been extremely disappointed is, you know, I think, and to everybody watching this soon who's going to watch it after, you know, social media is very, very important for this fight. And it's very important to be on it, to be active, to be spreading information. But this level of, you know, just negativity that I'm seeing online, and, you know, I think everybody going after each other and going after the wrong people too, I think has been a huge sort of roadblock for the movement. Definitely. And I think it's been a bit negative for the movement as well. And I think, you know, for me, for example, like the way that I know how to you know, be an activist. Like I'm a gay Democrat from Oklahoma. So like what I've always done is I volunteer, I go on, knock on doors, I try to call people, I try to raise money. And what's been interesting is just the level, you know, that I've seen online of people even scrutinizing me, of saying you're not doing it right. You know, you need to be doing X, Y, Z, and all these sorts of things. And what I would say to everybody is, don't focus on, you know, ways that you can combat others and get into online fights. Get to that protest. Get out there. I would much rather you not post a picture on your social media, and I would much rather have you at that protest, calling your legislators, calling your mayor, whatever it is. And so I think, you know, it's been very encouraging to see everything that's happening, but this is a moment right now in the movement where, as it's, you know, sort of, we're getting into the stage now where it was really, really high. Now we're kind of toning down on it. This is the serious time, guys, to put your phone down, and now let's make some real change. And so it's just been interesting. It's been very interesting to watch, and I'm sure I'll get a ton of bullshit for saying everything I just said. But you know, I've been here with BLM for a minute, and I'm very close to the chapter people here in Oklahoma City, and I know that at the end of the day, like it takes more than just being on your Twitter. It really, you gotta get out there, you gotta vote, you gotta call people, and so keep it up, but also just let's everybody watch out for each other online too.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think, you know, in the way that we have those opportunists who, you know, want to loot and riot for something that doesn't have to do with the immediate cause, we have those same people online who
1,000%,
you know, obviously, who are stronger behind a keyboard, you know, behind a Twitter avi. So they're going to do those things. But I think you're right in terms of, you know, as much as you want to, you know, post and retweet and do these things, it also takes getting out there and being part of the collective and really understanding. So, you know, thank you for being an ally. I think that's awesome, everything you said. Fuck everybody who has something mean to say to you.
It's okay. Okay.
But yeah, no, I really appreciate everything that you're saying right there.
Yeah, and I think too as well, you know, this is sort of a conversation too that where we're talking about Pride Month, right? And you know what that means this month. I think the focus, and you know, I said this, we had a Gay Times cover in March, and you know, when I was asked, you know, what do you think are the biggest sort of issues right now and the biggest things going on, I said in that interview, I said it's the trans community first, but it's also people of color within the queer community. That's the vulnerable part of all those letters right now. And there's still vulnerability on a lot of them, don't get me wrong, but that's the most vulnerable here. And I think this Pride Month, you know, as much as I'm for, you know, going out, waving the flag, being proud, celebrating, this is the time now for anyone who's, you know, not a person of color within the queer community. This is the time now to study, to educate, to listen, talk to people, ask them questions, say, what's your experience? What do you feel like? What's going on? And this is the time to really, really, you know, support and exalt that community. And so I'm not really feeling, you know, I haven't really felt too like, yeehaw, Pride this year. I've been pissed off. And I've been ready to make some change and to sort of study and educate this month. And I would encourage everybody to do that as well.
Hell yeah, Greyson Chance. Hell yeah. That's an ally right there. That's what you call being an ally. That's awesome, man. So obviously, you know, we're here for our Keeping Pride Alive event this Sunday. You are one of the performers. Very happy to have you on the bill. Are you ready for your performance? Can we expect something new? Can we expect, you know, the classic Greyson Chance? Tell us about, you know, what we've got in store this Sunday.
Well, you just have me on the piano for this one, and I think I'm going to play athlete to give that its moment, its shining.
Right, beautiful.
But no, I was so excited, and like I said too, you know, this is it's really nice to be a part of something and to be able to just share some joy right now and to have some positivity. And so this was something that I think is going to be a really, really good time, and kudos to you guys for putting it on, and in a way too, even just talking to you, I feel linked to Chicago right now, which makes me feel good.
Hell yeah, man. And I can't wait for us, you know, when we can do this normally in person and it
Me
doesn't,
too.
you know, we don't have to be wearing masks or thinking about who washed their hands last. So,
Me too.
again, Grayson, thank you so much, man. I appreciate, you know, not only your music, but your words, your activism. You're definitely a leader in the community, you know, and that goes miles further than you really know. So,
Thank
again,
you.
thank you, man.
Thank you, Jordan. And play my record.
We'll get some Greyson Chance going, man.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Cheers. Thank you guys, and happy
Of course.
Pride Month. Stay active
Happy
out
Pride.
there. Get
Hell
to
yeah.
those protests. Keep
Yep.
working. Keep fighting.
Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Thanks, man, so much for coming through. I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Cheers, dude.